Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our Salem by Night Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle. I'm the Ravnos Archon. I'm your storyteller this evening. For those of you that don't know, tonight is a special Elysium episode. We have both our cast and a special guest with us. We have our Anarch storyline cast and our Camarilla storyline cast with us. And last we left off with the Camarilla, they had some interesting revelations handed to them courtesy of one Lydia Frost. And we left off with the very sudden and very cold realization that Mickey, the mouse Douglas, was no longer part of this earth. And we left off with the Anarch Coterie coming to learn about Michelangelo Arturo Bonelli's case in the city. Now he had turned over his own kind of kin brother in Arbor Frost to the tower to become the new member of the city's La Sombra. And we left off with that group heading to pay Andrew Givens a visit at his antique shop, which I can only assume is now one of the newest things that has burned to the ground in the city. But we are going to jump to June 25th and the actual day of our Elysium as we meet everyone again. Some of us are in costume, some of us are just who we are in everyday life. Obviously, as you can tell by Albert Frost, I wore my Ravenclaw tie in honor of our special friend. I have high hopes. But before anything, I would like to introduce our special guest. His name is Julio. He's going to be playing Manny Garza because he's the one that originated the role in the first place. I can only am honored and happy to have him here. He's normally a cast member on 3B Radio. It's a fellow Twitch channel that I highly recommend you go to. They do what is it? Lord of the Rings, or
it's Game of Thrones on Tuesdays and Infinity on Thursdays.
Game of Thrones on Tuesdays, Infinity on Thursday. You were the DM for Infinity, yeah?
Yes, I am.
How are you enjoying that role?
Oh, it's so much fun. It's so much fun. The world of Infinity is just so rich and so fantastic. Like, it's my favorite cyberpunk setting, so it's a great time.
I'm excited. We'll do a shout out for them in chat if you guys are watching. It is the number 3, B as in the insect, and radio. Give them a follow if you'd like. They do some fantastic out there kind of non-mainstream games like I do. I think my main mainstream game is this one for Vampire the Masquerade. So, but we're gonna pick up right at the night of the Elysium. It is June 25th, 1984. The city's in chaos. Several of the domains have been hit, and the reports that are coming in are both that there's armed kind of tactical responses, or that there's just this wild, unnerving, and kind of primal pack of 6 or 7 kindred that are just being let loose. A lot of people have been clamoring for Geraldine to do something. And as this is outside of her wheelhouse, a lot of the day-to-day and the kind of commanding of the troops has fallen to Thomas Reginald Hyde. He's the one that's kind of taken point and helped in getting people situated, getting people what they need. And it's kind of been a relief because outside of West Salem, the outskirts of Salem proper have no longer become safe. The lupines have been attacking in force, and they have clearly laid out lines of demarcation where you either stay on one side if you're a vampire, or you face the wrath of any lupine that comes across you. Reinforcements have been called in from all over the United States, Canada, parts of Europe, the old world, and tonight you're going to meet the reinforcements that have come in, as well as some childer that are being introduced to the city. Excuse me. Um, but it is midnight. You are arriving uh, around before or after that time to the Elahe Hills Country Club in southwest Salem. And there is a strong police presence. There's a police officer at the gatehouse that leads into the parking lot to the country club. There's a police officer um, at either side of the kind of front dropping off and picking up area, and there's even a police officer uh, stationed at the kind of sign-in desk. Manny, you're going with Otis King in tow, and you notice when you two show up, Geraldine approaches him in a very unfamiliar manner to you. She comes over and she kisses him in the traditional French manner of kissing both cheeks. And then she kind of nods to you respectfully.
I say, hey, what's up? No kiss for me?
Shakes her head. And then one of the other toreador kind of pulls her aside and she excuses herself. Um, Otis leans into you. We have to talk later. For now, keep your eyes open, huh?
You got it, D'Artagnan?
And he posts up in one side. You notice that he takes notice of another black gentleman off to the side. He kind of looks homeless from the kind of disheveled clothes that he has. He has a hoodie. He has his beanie underneath the hoodie hood that's kind of pulled up. Um, and he just looks a little worse for wear. He's got this white shock of beard coming down the chin, but otherwise it's mostly black beard. Uh, it's kind of soft, gentle eyes that are locked behind this kind of scarred upper part of his face, um, and just wearing a bunch of layers.
Do I know him from anywhere, or is he just another face in the crowd?
Just another face in the crowd right now, but Otis does kind of point him out to you, subtly as possible. You've seen him before?
Can say I have, boss.
He smells different.
I'll keep an eye out.
Yeah. And you see Thomas Reginald Hyde come over. He just looks at you first, barely makes eye contact with Otis, and then comes back to looking at you, Manny.
Again, one of these.
He's like, well, I see you still haven't come over to the right side of things, Mr. Garza. I could use a man like you.
Man, I don't know if any side that you're on is the right side of anything.
Wow. You all been stuck in West Salem for the longest time. I can get you out of that rut real fast.
Well, what can I say? I like the weather.
Turns to Otis, kind of nods. Things are things are looking rough in the city. You got a contingent, Otis. Otis shakes his head, playing it by ear, letting the music play out. The white, kind of Colonel Sanders looking Primogen laughs, a very hollow laugh. That's the difference between you and I, boy. I got plans. And he kind of nods to you again, Manny, and starts making his way back over to the other Primogen. At this point, does the Camarilla group want to come in, or does the Anarch group want to come in?
I mean, I'm thinking we would probably not get there right away.
Okay.
I'm good with going in. Oh, Erickson would love to come in,
Yeah,
take a look at this place before this starts.
of course.
Staying too.
So the two of you walk in. You recognize a few of the faces from the Elysium you were at before. But you notice that there's a lack of numbers. Most of the Primogen are there. You can see the Prince. You can see Ashling, the Bruja Primogen is there. You can see the Malkavian Primogen and the Ventru Primogen are there. The Sheriff is around. You've seen him. Sam is around. Leslie's there, as well as Tulip. And a couple of other people that you haven't met but you've seen before. One comes over. He is maybe 6'4", just north of 6 foot, but very south of 6'6". Tousled brown hair, this eternal 5 o'clock shadow to him, but he's very pink, very warm, very lively looking, and he comes over to the two of you, Erickson and Mustang, right?
Oh, yes, and it's an honor to be here. And I do apologize. May I have your name?
He extends his hand to you, and it is warm to the touch. It is not cold like you're used to from other kindred. And he's like, "My name is Marcus. Marcus uh, Bradley."
Oh, Marcus. Pleasure to meet you this evening. I am Erickson Wood, as you know, and my friend Mustang here.
Right, right.
Mm.
Hello, ma'am. I heard from Sam that you're the people I need to talk to about the last call. You see, I own the Albatross. It's off of Front Street, and I wanted to touch base, see what you were all about, see if I could help out in any way, shape, or form, because I seem to have cornered the market for certain goods coming into the city, and I don't want to step on toes if you have plans to kind of expand from what Sam was doing.
What kind of goods?
You know, things to help those that aren't part of our world be part of a different world. If I can be vague and unassuming. And then he kind of leans in closer. He's like, "But if you want me to be straightforward, it's drugs."
Oh,
Oh. Well, what type of drugs are you actually peddling out here?
I mean, I have a seller for everything, really. But the majority of the things that I kind of push are weed. I got a couple people that are dependent on some opiates, but nothing too big. I got a fucking gram of ayahuasca if you got somebody interested. I've been trying to push that shit for weeks now.
I think our maybe our compatriot, considering that we work with circles, might know of a group that might want to partake in that. Um, but what about the just to make sure because I know that Sam also provided me her in when it comes to selling of firearms. Is that something that you're also into?
No, sir. I stay away from those kinds of things. Uh, isn't my style. And given the clientele that I deal with at the Albatross, I'm better off not getting involved in anything that could lead to altercations. I deal a lot with the Russians and the Italians.
I see. Now, real quick, I wanted to know when it comes to the albatross, um, considering that we've been in the city now, at least Mustang and myself,
Mhm.
we would know a fair amount about the areas, including the albatross, right?
The Albatross is basically Mos Eisley Cantina. It is just
Hmm.
you go there if you have to dig up the bottom of the barrel. Like if you need scumbags for anything, you go to the Albatross.
I see. And you don't mind me asking, how's your relationship with Malcolm Davies?
I mean, I don't see him much. He's a little bit more high class than I am. I like to get my hands dirty, you know. Never sample the product though. Never sample your own product, rather. But I do on occasion enjoy myself because I don't know if you know Mr. Wood, Breck. Uh, I'm not normally at these events because I'm not liked because of what I am.
Well, you kind of have me at in a little bit of confusion. What exactly are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Again, he leans in close and he just whispers, I'm a thin blood.
I see. Well, I was a former politician, so I dealt with a lot of low lives throughout my throughout half more than half my life. So trust me, yeah, there's no judgment here. And I look over at Mustang,
None.
Appreciate it.
and he's still holding my hand, right?
No, no.
No. So I lean in to, you know, maybe you should come by the last call, just so that we can talk a little more. How was, when is it that you're free? Later on this week after all of this?
I can make time. Um, I assume that you would want me to come by after night has fallen. All of you are beholden to the traditional sleeping during the day.
That's it's not a problem. If you happen to call into the last call and I'm in lovely woman by the name of Grace answers, that's she works for me, works for us actually.
Hmm.
You can leave a message with her in case of anything.
Sure. I might I might show up as the sun is setting then. Make myself at home and partake of the whatever drinks you have.
Yeah, it'll be on the house.
I appreciate that.
And I start. I continue to walk in then with
Yeah.
Mustang,
Yeah. He goes off and
A-
finds a corner.
and I look at Mustang. I'm like, who the fuck is that?
I don't know. Could be interesting guy to keep around though.
Yeah, yeah, we'll surely find out. I mean, I only know about what half of what Sam was actually running apparently. Uh, she kept me in the dark with quite a few. Now that I think about it. By the way, how does that folder look? I don't know if you've looked into that further since the last time since when we first found it. Talking about the case folders.
How does it look?
By this point, you would have found out that Frankie has been turned.
Stop.
He is a kindred, and he has since moved to Los Angeles.
Is that the only thing that's in there? That's super
That
interesting.
that you have found, that is the most interesting thing that you have found. Yes, that is the big piece of pie.
Gotcha. Nope. Not really.
Okay. I take it as she has yet to lie to me, so I have no recollection of trying to think that she would lie. I'm
Yeah.
gonna just keep walking.
Okay. The Camarilla Coterie shows up right as the kind of stretched limousine shows up, and you see Antoine Malcolm Davies, you see Sheriff Green, and you see a couple of people that you don't recognize, all of them kind of surrounding Albert as they're bringing him into the country club. It's almost like a president being surrounded by his Secret Service. They're moving people aside. They're helping him to move forward, and you can feel Lydia kind of sink into the small of your back, Melvin. And you can just feel her shaking with frustration, with anger, and with just this primordial fear of what might come.
I kind of just whatever happens, you're doing the right thing, whether it amounts to anything or not. You're giving it your chance.
You can feel her nod into your back.
I look at Connie. I'm just like, I guess let's get this over with.
Are you gonna need a minute?
He's not coming back, but maybe I can get some more info here.
Well, okay, remember if there's at any point you need a break, you just grab my hand or something and I'll take over, okay? Don't push yourself. Don't be a hero here.
Look what it's got me. And I kind of like nudge to my back. I have a collection of bullet wounds. If I keep doing that, I guess we should go in.
After you.
And I grab all the files and everything.
Yep.
And I kind of keep.
As you are led up to where the banquet hall is for the Elysium, excuse me, Sheriff Green comes over and grabs your hand to shake it, and you can feel that he's palming something to you. And he just kind of leans into the two of you. Look, I don't know who that is, but I hope you did something, because it's not looking good for your boy.
Appreciate the heads up.
Did you ever see him talk to any ghosts or anything?
I think so. If I recall.
Right now, the big thing that this Benelli guy's got going for him is that he's a speaker for the dead. That he fills the role that Isaiah kind of left open. But if your boy has that ability, then that might be a saving grace.
It's good to know, Sheriff. Didn't think you and I kind of say it low. I go, I didn't think you liked him that much.
I don't. But the devil
Yeah.
you know is better than the devil you don't. Pulls his hand free and nods to you, nods to Connie, and then nods to Lydia. Makes his way back into the room.
I kind of do I kind of go like this to pocket and try to see if I can see what it is, and I'll just put it in.
Yep. It is exactly as I have messaged
What
you
you told me.
earlier. Mhm.
Yeah. Okay.
And as you walk in, excuse me, you see Geraldine kind of sitting at a round table. There's a few round tables and a kind of open area in between them all. At her table are the Primogen, Ashling, Malcolm, Samuel, Thomas, Juliet, and even Thomas Shepard is there, though he's not sitting. He's standing behind her, almost like a bodyguard would. As far as the kindred of the city that remain, that you recognize, there's the sheriff, there's Sam, there's Leslie, Jackson, Tulip, Antoine, Wesley, Ian Garter, who I don't think you've ever interacted with, Beatrice Gravel, the Archon, Anna Smalley from Chicago, Anastasia Richards is there, and of course, surprisingly to you, is Marcus Bradley. And among the people you don't know, there's a good kind of dozen new faces. And if I could have Ani and Melvin make a wits and awareness roll,
Oh.
we'll start the night.
All right.
The first roll of Elysium.
Okay. Okay. So I got an 8 on my hunger die, an 9, 8, 7, and then a 1, 2. Oh, 8. So 9, 8, 7, 8, 8 on the hunger die, and then a 1 and a 2.
Hey. Connie, what'd you get?
I don't like it.
Okay. That's a good sign.
I got a 1 on my hunger dice, a
Mm,
2, a 5, and a 6.
okay. Not terrible, but not great either.
I know. And I'm blurry, so you know.
Yeah, you'll fix yourself. It's that pregnancy glow. It's
Is that what they call it?
That's
Is that what they call it?
fucking up the camera.
Shines so bright.
Stop being pregnant. I don't know. Fix your blurriness.
I don't know how. Okay, I have to turn off the camera then. So get ready.
No, just come in close and then come out. Otherwise, oh, that's too much. That's too much. But
It makes nothing.
It didn't do anything.
all right, then just play it really close up. But
I'm doing
Melvin,
this with your hand.
yeah, Melvin actually hears Lydia whisper Isaiah.
You see him?
She covers her mouth quickly and she nods.
Where is he? Can you subtly point him out?
She kind of turns in a direction where you see in the corner of the room there's 2 tables. One has Otis King, Manny Garza, and you can see that Marcus Bradley's making his way over there. But in the other table, there's just this very out of place, kind of homeless looking black man. And for a moment, very, very brief flicker that kind of forces you to blink hard, he looks like static for a second.
Okay.
But you can see
Connie.
what?
No, I just say Connie. Isaiah.
Is he here? Over there?
Next to Otis and Manny.
Is he? Is it me or is he like between channels?
That's just him. To you, he just looks like this disheveled, homeless black man.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I turn to Lydia and I say, are you gonna be okay? Do we need to cover you?
No, it should be fine. I think. Terrible at accents. I don't know why I try. Yes, it should be fine as long as we don't draw attention to ourselves.
So I shouldn't go talk to him right now.
If you do, I can walk her somewhere else. So yeah, at least he doesn't see where you came from. If we're gonna do that, then now's the time for you to do that.
I'll be back.
All right. Lydia, let's go look at this wooden wall over here.
You pull Lydia away.
I'll wait till she starts pulling him away.
Yeah.
I start making my way over there.
As soon as they start moving, you see them bring out Albert and sit him in this very witness-like box. The kind of like witness stand style box. And they kind of sit him down gently. And in a very similar box, you see this rugged-looking, almost handsome, too handsome, kind of olive-skinned man sit down opposite of him. And then you hear sound of a gavel, and everybody starts to quiet down. Ashling steps forward. Actually, no. I don't think she would be the one in charge of this. Juliet steps forward. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to begin the proceedings. This is the trial of one Albert Frost versus Michelangelo Arturo Bonelli. Before any of these proceedings are heard, however, we must introduce the new members of the city that have come to bolster our numbers. We have from Chicago, Klansman of mine, Richard Stephen Thompson. You see a gentleman stand up, and kind of wave very curtly and sit back down. We have a Miss Margaret Sullivan from Canada. And you see this very kind of warm-looking, happy-go-lucky young girl kind of stand up, hold her hand up, and then kind of sit back down. From London, we have Julian Poole, and you see what looks to be this trench coat and fedora kind of stand up, and as the fedora comes off, and you see the very kind of pointed up nose, the very kind of turned skin, kind of becoming much darker in spots. You can see patches of fur kind of where eyebrows would be, and these very long pointed bat-like ears, and he kind of nods and sits back down. From Virginia, we have Wilhelmina Statler, and you see this black-haired, raven-haired wafer of a woman kind of stand up. She has this black veil, very sheer, covering her face, and as she pulls it back, you can see just the craters of pockmarks on her face, this kind of long gash that comes down the right side of her face, and the left side of her face kind of looks like it's been burnt off. But she kind of curtsies formally and then sits down again. From New York, we have Frederick Mason. And you see this very regal, very well put together older gentleman. He's got the white hair kind of claiming all of his head. He's got a few strands of gray that have lost the war to the white in his beard. But he's got this three-piece suit that just makes him look like he's straight out of a 1920s like Wall Street ad. From California, we have Virginia Hope Colson, and you see this young lady, older, maybe like mid-30s looking, stand up. Very, very nice dress, jacket. You can see what looks to be a little bit of the shoulder pads that are making their prominence in the 80s, but very elegant. She moves on. From Germany, we have Linda Jacoby, and you see this woman kind of stand up, long black hair, this piercing eyes, and you notice that her frame looks almost out of sync with the rest of her body. Like it looks a little bit sharper. The bones look a little less noticeable. Her limbs look a little longer than they should. But she just kind of holds up a hand and sits down. From Greece, we have Iakosta Drakos. And you see this olive-skinned woman, this kind of eternal tan woman with these really light eyes stand up, this long black hair. And she kind of puts her hands out in front of her, almost in prayer, kind of bows to the group and sits down. From India, we have Bahadur Ibn Abbasi, and you see for the first time, those of you that have been looking for him, Bahadur stand up, his kind of 5 o'clock, almost 7 o'clock shadow of a beard. Just, he would be handsome if not for the almost Albert Frost-like appearance. Like he's got that professor look to him that kind of drops him down a bit. She then motions to two women that have been kind of left off to the side, and she also motions to Isaiah, who steps forward. One of the women, you see Mustang and Erickson recognize her because it's Gretel. And Juliet says, introducing themselves for the first time amongst the Camarilla and joining us at the request of their sire, or in the case of Miss Myers here, at the request of their teacher, John Colson. This is Greta Meyer, the newest member of Clan Tremere, and you see the future Mere that are in the room kind of clap. She motions to the next girl. This is Lillian Buchanan, a childer of Mr. Marcus Bradley. And you see Marcus kind of stand up at that point. I am told that she barely managed to receive the gift, but we have a second thin blood amongst us, and you can hear just whispers erupt out of everybody. There, people that are sitting on different tables have kind of like slid towards each other to try and figure out what's going on. There's a lot of gossip suddenly, and then you hear the gavel slam, and everybody kind of goes quiet. And she goes, and we also have Mr. Isaiah Majors from Washington. And Isaiah nods, who is introducing himself and his childer, who is of age, of temperament, and of learning, from what I've understood. And Isaiah nods, and he kind of looks out to the crowd. My name is Isaiah Majors. I am a Ventru from Washington. I am the child of Jonathan Majors, who is the child of Elizabeth Sanders, who is the child of Ingval, I believe is his last name. I don't remember his first name. I apologize. There's a bit of murmuring from the Primogen. And Juliet motions again. Mr. Majors, who is your child? And he motions. He points out Lydia. This is Lydia Frost. I have embraced her. Outside of the city, outside of the confines of Tower Law. So I have no prince's right to have done it, as it was done outside of the sphere of influence. So I understand if a mercy killing is in order, Prince Birmingham. And you see Lydia step forward. I
walk over and I stand right behind her.
Okay. And you see her, she is bolstered by your presence, and she says, I am the childer of Isaiah Majors, yes, and I am Ventru, just as he is. And immediately, Thomas Reginald Hyde stands up. Oh, I think at the request of sound and humane, Prince Birmingham, that clearly it would behoove us to have some young Ventru blood in the city. We're sorely lacking in that clan's presence. And she's taken aback for a moment. You see her look at the rest of the Primogen. Samuel nods. Juliet shrugs. And you see Thomas lean down and say something, like just whispers into her ear. And she nods at him. Very well. I think because there is no jurisdiction, as it were, coming from a different city, Mr. Majors, I think tonight there will be no killing.
Will, can I try to hear what he says since I'm standing right behind her?
You're standing behind Lydia.
Oh, I thought you were he whispered to Lydia. I'm sorry.
No. Thomas whispered to
Okay.
Geraldine.
Oh, okay.
So you see there's a little bit of elation that comes over her face. There's a bit of relief in her body language, and then Geraldine stands up. Um, However, as we must not be soft, given the chaos of our age. I will say, Sheriff Green, let it be known that Mr. Isaiah Majors is not welcome in the city. He used to be exiled, sent back to Washington, where he originates. And Isaiah kind of steps forward, and he's just like, "But, ma'am, the lupines and her teaching." And Geraldine sits back down. She's like, "The lupines are your problem, Mr. Majors. I have some Ventru that I can trust to teach her in your absence. I'm sure Miss Richards or even Mr. Hyde here will take kindly to instruction." And you see Sheriff Green go over, and he just starts to walk Isaiah out.
I step forward and I kind of like bow to Geraldine. I don't, I forget what the proper
Sure.
thing is, but I'm like, ma'am, he could be more useful than you think, given these times that you're speaking of. If you would allow me to say my piece, you may reconsider exiling him.
Mr. Wright,
And
yes?
yes.
He turns to look at Malcolm. Mr. Thatcher, how do we feel about Mr. Wright? And Malcolm kind of looks over at you, looks back at her, looks over at Albert, and looks back at her. I rightly don't know, ma'am. I haven't spoken much to him in a while. And given that the last thing I knew is that his sire had gone missing, I don't rightly know where to stand on him.
He's dead. He's not missing anymore. He's dead.
You see Juliet motion to Albert. Mr. Frost, you don't need to raise your hand. You are not in class.
I'm before the remainder of the proceedings begin for tonight's Elysium, I just want to I vouch for Mr. Wright. I would, if need be, and I have in other occasions, I would trust my life with him. If he says something should be done per his recommendation, I highly, highly would consider it. Thank you.
Well, is there a second voice, someone not on trial and of good standing with the tower that can vouch for Mr. Wright?
I stand and I look at Mustang and I'm just like here. I adjust myself. I don't know how much good standing you're asking for, but again, Geraldine, my name is Erickson Wood from Clan Bruja, and I am right now taking over the establishment that Sam formerly had over at the last call here in Salem, and at least the amount of conversation and the amount of experience interaction that I've had with uh, Mr. Wright uh, seems like he's an upstanding type of person, and um, I honestly would vouch for him, and I think anyone in my coterie, and I start nudge Mustang, would also
I got
agree
up.
to that.
I got up.
I look
I'm
at the two of you and I kind of just nod. Like I get like the
I'm very trepidatious because I don't like crowds, but I say, um, hi, I'm Connie Eastworm, and I also vouch for Mr. Wright. He is an asset to our coterie and to pretty much everybody in this room. And I echo much of what has been said here today, especially from Mr. Frost. He is of sound thinking. He is the most level-headed member of our coterie, frankly, and has proven time and time again to those who have met him that he can more than make very sound decisions. If there were one to trust, I mean, amongst us, I would bet my riches on him.
Tulip stands up. I vouch for Melvin.
I look at Tulip too and Connie and I just nod.
I stare daggers at Sheriff Green, like waiting for him. When is he gonna stand? just,
Yeah. And
just.
you don't see the sheriff moving at all, but you do see Antoine stand up. And Antoine's like, as I have spent several of my nights getting to know with Frost, I can say with an easy conscience and stern belief that anyone that he decides to back, I must back as well. And at that, you see Geraldine's eyebrow kind of raise. She sits up. Very well. Then for the next 2 years, Isaiah Majors is beholden to your coterie, Mr. Wright. His crimes are your crimes. Your crimes are his crimes. You vouch for him and his chowder. And this is the tax that must be paid. Are we in accordance?
We are.
Very well. Mr. Green, please, have a seat. He
And
nods.
I look back at Isaiah and I just as I step back and I just stare at him. I'm like, we're gonna talk.
Yeah, he is looking at you with very sorrowful eyes, just kind of shaking his head. Almost like you shouldn't have done that for him, but he nods his understanding. And then at this point, Samuel Hunter stands up. Excuse me. And you notice that he's not moving the way you remember him moving in the hospital. There's a very kind of loosey-goosey nature to him. He's almost like acting like someone half his age, half his mortal age. And he comes forward. All right, so we're here to hear the argument over which one of these two we should have here. The tower. It has become known to us that Mr. Bonelli was a speaker for the dead, for Baron Augustus Shivered over in Wyoming. So why are you here now if you were beholden to a baron before? And he stands up, kind of fixes his tie. It is because my sire's final wish was for me to take care of any loose ends, and I see no bigger loose end than this disgrace to the clan. And he points to Albert Frost. Samuel kind of lets him sit there for a moment, waiting to see if there's any more, and then comes in and he's just like, well, fuck. If that ain't blunt and to the point, I don't know what is. Mr. Frost, how would you like to respond to these accusations?
Civilly, I suppose. If this is off the record, which I hope it is, but prior to the proceedings, is it, Mr. Hunter?
Sure. There's no one's taking minutes
all right.
here.
Wonderful. Michelangelo, you, and I say this respectfully, I will piss on the dust that is your body when I am done. Right? Because Isabella always cherished me more. Thank you. I'm ready to begin.
He claps.
I like this guy.
He claps his hands. Samuel claps his hands, and he's just like, "All right, you've got a right pissing match if I've ever seen one. So, let's hear what you have to offer, then, Mister Bonelli. What good can you possibly bring to our fair city, given that you were in a barony for the last few years?" And again, he kind of runs his fingers through his hair, kind of letting it naturally cascade down on either side of his head. I, as I've said, am here because I believe that I am a better fit for the tower than I am for barony. My sire enjoyed her time here under Prince Birmingham. I hope, I look forward to, and I cannot wait to work with you, Prince Birmingham. And you see him kind of smiling and turning on the charm of the Italian man. It has come to my attention that Mr. Frost, as you like to call him, is not skilled enough or prepared enough to handle the trials and tribulations of being one of the speakers. I would like to call as my first witness Mr. Ibn Abbasi, if I may. And Samuel kind of nods. And you see the ministry member that some of you have been tasked with finding stand up. It is true. Albert Frost has spent the better part of his own life looking for Atlantis like some lovesick puppy looking after his first girlfriend who dumped him at the steps to their marriage. It's a fool's errand. It's not what the clan was built for. What the clan values. As far as I know, this is what I've been taught by Mr. Bonelli. Of course, I have had very few dealings with the Sombra myself. But as far as the ones that I have met, Albert Frost is not like any I have ever seen or dealt with before.
Will,
Hmm.
question for you.
Sure.
Because I know that the names with these three name things, this is Ibn Abbasi Bahadur.
Yep,
This is the
Bahadur
same
Ibn
guy?
Abbasi.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in these trials, like, can anybody speak? Or how does that
There,
work?
there are options given. Yeah.
Okay.
At
Because
this
I want to call this motherfucker out.
yeah. At this point, Samuel kind of turns towards Albert. Mr. Frost,
Yes.
do you have anyone that can speak, or do you wish to speak against the accusations being thrust upon you?
Sort of in a roundabout way, actually. On the standpoint of Bahadur Ibn Hadassi as someone who would criticize my findings on Atlantean culture, outside of my own personal research on Atlantis and everything that happened in Carthage in regards to the beckoning, but that's another subject, I suppose. My standpoint, and I kind of stand up, my standpoint right now is Bahadur Ibn Hadassi is not his true name, as his true name is Yusuf. Yusuf joins us from the First Church of the Baptismal Waters, or as I know in my findings, as the Masonic Order of the Cold Embrace, a cult on the East Coast currently tasked with finding Atlantis. And
I look at Albert and I stare at him with daggers. Like,
and to support this, I call Melvin Wright.
I step forward. It's like, yeah, me again. And I toss the briefcase with the gun, where the gun clip was on the floor across that was from the van, as well as the file folder. And I say, this documentation was found, and this gun that was used, and I put the gun back into the case, because I'm not gonna be like, this one right here, and then I get attacked by 15 vampires.
Of course.
I go, this was the van that assaulted us at our diner, all claiming to be from that church, and that their prophet, this asshole right here, wanted Mr. Frost, Dr. Frost, sorry,
I don't have my
to
PhD.
translate documents, because he was claiming to be a prophet that was going to lead them to Atlantis. So I don't know what bullshit he's trying to feed to everybody, but here's your evidence. And I step back.
Okay.
Mic drop.
Some Sheriff Green comes over, collects the case, and brings it over to Samuel Hunter. He looks it over. He looks back at Bahadur. So this is pretty compelling evidence against you there. Anything to say for yourself? And Bahadur kind of raises his hands up. What one man does in the privacy of his own time is his business, yes? Or if I have...
Lie in the face of the prince is something else, Yusuf, especially coming outside of the tower.
I am not on trial here. Last I checked, it was you, sir.
You're also not getting to Atlantis.
If you have to sling mud to protect yourself, then do what you will. But I am never said that I did not have a cult, that I was not some prophet for the kind. We each have our herds in our own way, yes? Some of us live off the filth of animals in alleys and kind of motions towards Melvin. Some of us are more civilized and trick humans into devoting themselves to us. This is my way.
Civilized.
So all the stuff you were saying a few seconds ago about him being lunatic for wanting to find Atlantis, so that you're just going to ignore that and throw that out the window.
Oh, I mean,
because...
looking for a forgotten city that possibly could never have existed and tricking humans into believing that I am a god, they're definitely on the same page. Yes, of course.
But it's so strange to send essentially armed civilians to a diner with the face of a man claiming that you must bring him back so we can reach our goal. Why do that at all, Yusuf?
I gave one person a gun, Mr. Frost.
Interesting.
So this claim of armed vigilantes chasing you down for whatever reason is hearsay at the best.
Just like everything that you're saying.
Last I checked, the court regarded Mr. Wright in high association. You, Yusuf, are what I call a fucking twat.
And
Uh,
I just back up. I
Yeah.
just go back to my spot next to Lydia and Connie.
Where the
Samuel,
hell has this ever been?
yeah, Samuel kind of looks over. He's like, "All right, well, that's been enough out of you then." And Yusuf kind of bows gracefully and steps back into his corner. Mr. Bonelli, is there anyone else you'd like to call up? And he's like, "Yes, of course. I have several people that I have befriended. That would
Wonderful,
speak
so have I.
that would speak kindly to me about me." And you see him look over towards Erickson and Mustang, with a big smile on his face, and then he just kind of motions to the table next to you, and he's just like, "Mr. Davies, please step forward." You see Antoine Malcolm Davies stand up, step over. Samuel looks at him. "All right, say your piece." And Antoine Malcolm Davies kind of looks out. It is true that I have had some very remarkable nights with Mr. Frost, but if I were to say one is more useful to the tower, I would have to side with Mr. Benelli. He has more resources at his command because of his art connections. He has the ear of some of the members that are still active in the barony that he has left, as well as the members that exist in Italy that he has promised me could deliver several high-profile individuals to the court. So if I would have choose one, I have to choose Mr. Benelli. Samuel turns towards Albert. Anything to say? Anything to say in your favor, Mr. Frost? Or do you have someone to counter?
In the regards of the spiderweb of interlocking faces and friendships and kinships, I do not have as many as my brother would. Am I quick to gain trust? I would say, in some regards. Have I been good in conversation when it comes to the wining and dining of a friendship? And I say that looking into Antoine's eyes. On many a night I am known to. I'm also known to be trusted with the secrets of those friends. Still holding on to Antoine. And holding them well. As for connections to baronies or Italy, I only have that of Giovanna, who I've not heard from in some 10 years. So that is all I have to say on this matter. However, if it is possible, I would like to call someone up in the defense of myself if we are done with Michelangelo.
He looks over. Mr. Bonelli, are you done yet, or do you have any more that you'd like to call up? And he looks around and he's just like, I have one more person, if I could be so bold as to call up Mr. Thomas Reginald Hyde. And you see the Ventru Primogen stand up, climb down off of the dais where their table is. Having met Mr. Bonelli a few years ago, because of his connection to his sire, I can say that he has been a right down remarkable gentleman. And given that he has more at his disposal than some apartment and some diner that was given to him out of my own pocket, I can definitely say without a doubt that Mr. Bonelli would be a key asset to have in the city. Samuel turns back to you, Albert. Anything to say against?
No comment.
All right. This is do it for you, Mr. Bonelli. Arturo nods. This is it. I think I have one more if it comes to it, but I don't think that I will need it. He nods. All right, the court will now, and Samuel kind of looks over. All right, the court will now hear the any voices that you wish to have heard, Mr. Frost.
Thank you. I only have a few.
All right, call your first one.
I call a good friend of mine, Aisling McGinty.
You see, she stands up, and she steps down off the dais and replaces Hyde. Yeah, sure. He's a good guy. I don't know this prick, and she points over at Bonelli. But I don't like the smarm he's using. He's got this kind of fuck face attitude that I don't like. So take a page out of Albert's book. You're a fucking twat. I hope you don't come into this tower. She goes back up to her seat.
I'm sorry, and what clan is she again?
That's Bruja.
Of course she is. Just wanted to bring that up.
My dog. That's my dog.
Hey, Will, I got a question.
Sure.
The long-haired gentleman that was outside the bar talking to Marcus Bradley when I was in hidden, listening to their entire conversation.
Mhm.
Do I see him here?
He is not here, no.
Okay. All right.
One more question, real quick, Will, and
Yeah.
I do apologize. Samuel Hunter, I've met him. I've obviously met Samuel Hunter before.
You've met a Samuel Hunter, yes, but being that he is a Malkavian primogen, this is a Samuel Hunter you've never met before.
Yeah, I think the Camarillas met 3 different Samuel Hunters so far.
Yeah, this is. Yeah, I just wanted to get confirmation. Thank you.
And you see Samuel kind of turn over to Arturo, and he's just like, anything to say in your regards? And Arturo just kind of runs his hands through his hair to kind of fix it up, make it look all slicked back, and he's just like, no, I don't know what to say to that. It's just bombastic and loud and aggressive for no reason. I don't know what I could have. And he's just like, yeah, that's fucking enough out of you. It's either a yes or no, or fuck. Mr. Frost, who's your next witness?
I would like to call Connie Eastrom and Melvin Wright.
Right?
I walk forward. I look at Connie and I just kind of motion after you.
I do this and I walk.
And I make sure Lydia stays with us.
Yep.
I'm not letting her out of my sight.
So she's coming up with us to the
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Would either of you happen to have had the foresight to bring any of or all of my research?
Yeah. Fuck you for that, first of
Can
all.
you
I've had
can
to
you-
carry all that shit around everywhere. And I go and I grab the box and I put it. This I regime guy didn't like you very much. And I turn back around and walk next to Connie.
It was also very long.
did you read it?
Yeah.
My early dissertations weren't very good, but the later ones I think marveled. I don't think I never did any formal paperwork in regards
We
to
can
start
talk
snapping my
about that
fingers.
later.
Yeah, you hear Bahadur. Your earlier work is garbage, just like you
Your
are.
fucking face is garbage, Yusuf. Go find a cork and sit on it, you fucker. Anyway, I'm glad you brought my research. I am asking you to burn it right here in front of all of us.
Immediately, Bahadur stands up and he's like, "I will gladly pay 500,000 for that research."
I would gladly ask you to sit down, you fucking twat. Burn it.
Connie, you know how many cabs we could get with that?
Burn it.
So many. You know how many vans we could buy?
Where's my van, you prick? No, I don't say that. I'm
You
like,
know
are you,
load jacks we
you-
could buy for our vans?
and I'm like, are you sure?
Melvin? I trust you with my life. The papers need to be gone. Here for all of us to witness. This is everything I have.
Does anybody have a light?
Marcus comes over with his Zippo. Here you go, man. We're happy to help.
Appreciate that, Marcus. I light it, and I drop, and I look at Albert, and I drop it.
Like the city itself.
It's
Never to be seen again.
slowly is eaten up by the fire. And a bunch of the gathered kind of back away. You and Connie and Lydia have to make composure and resolve rolls for me. As fire is one of the natural fears that vampires have.
I'm looking Yusuf in his face. What's he doing?
He's aghast.
Yeah. Serves him fucking right. He'll never get there now.
He really won't.
I got one success. I got
Uh,
an 8 and a 1, but I guess those cancel each other out, right?
no.
Okay, so then I got
one's
2
only
successes and a
matter.
1.
One's only matter if that's the only thing you rolled, and they're on your hunger dice.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't on my hunger day either.
Lydia,
So 2 successes.
Lydia stands strong. You back up as the fire kind of enrages. What did Connie get?
I got a 9 on my hunger dice, a 10, a 7, a 7, a 6, and 2 1s.
Okay, so
She
yeah,
bathes in it.
I just let the rain come down
Yeah.
and wet my dreams.
yeah. Wet your jeans. So
Wet
you.
my dreams. My
Okay,
dreams.
I don't know. Wet jeans just seem uncomfortable. But you and Lydia manage to stand your ground even as the fire kind of engulfs the box. And you see Melvin kind of back away, just that instinctual fear, like the beast inside of you just recoils and takes you with it. And just the idea of even being remotely close to fire and what it might do to you in the form of the final death just kind of makes you recoil.
Are you willing to pay 500,000 for my life, Yusuf? Are you? Are all those words I spoke of earlier so bizarre now? That the only answers that you need, the answers you desire, the answers for everything, all the questions everyone's been asking in regards to the beckoning, the only remnant of it is now inside my head? Ah.
You
No
forget.
one expected Wild Albert Frost to play such a card, but yet here I am,
You forget.
the great professor. Shut the fuck up, Yusuf! I'm talking! You are in my tower! Not my tower, I apologize, Prince, but this is my turf! You come here unwelcomed, posing as something you are not, and expect me to bow down? Sending a gunman to the diner that I establish myself in, threatening my daughter, my wife. Yusuf, you fucked with the wrong Brit. I hope you suffer 1,000 deaths now in your fucked up ideas, because guess what? You'll never have the knowledge that I do. Because if you did, you never would have come for me in the first place. Now, Connie, Melvin, I ask you very kindly, please take a step back. I need to talk to my daughter. Yusuf, sit the fuck down and understand you are done.
I take more steps back. I go to Connie. Where the fuck has this guy been?
Is it weird that I want to call him daddy?
Me too.
Daddy Frost.
Same. Same.
Now,
Walking backwards.
Yeah.
Lydia,
She steps forward.
you're home.
It's the long way around, Father.
You look as beautiful as your mother.
Given small changes, I think.
I think so too. I'm not sure if the court has acknowledged it or realized, but this is my personal kin. The old ways, I suppose.
There's whispers that start to kind of make their way around the room.
She's intelligent, wise beyond her years, a good right hook. But she takes so much after Anna than I ever could. Your mother would be proud of you. I'm proud of you.
You see her start to cry.
I'm not sure if you understand exactly how this whole system works, dear, but I've been as brazen as I am this evening because I understand who I am up against, and I know that I won't be there to tuck you in tonight.
You see her turn her face away from the gathered masses. And as she kind of has her back to you, her face towards Connie and Melvin, they can see that not only are her two regular eyes crying blood, but her third one is as well.
I ask two things of the tower. The first being that I feel like we are all aware that this is one of the last things I will say. So I am asking to hold my daughter one last time, if that is all right. And I just start walking over to her.
Nobody stops you.
And I hug her. And I give her a kiss on the forehead.
There is an eye staring at you,
I don't care.
but it closes as you bring your mouth to it.
I
She
give
wraps
her,
her arms around you.
I put into her jacket 2 small envelopes. And I give her one more kiss. And then I turn back around to the table of Primogen. I forfeit my right to the tower, but not to Michelangelo Benelli. I forfeit it to Lydia Frost. May she have all respect that I did, no matter what personal outcomes come from hereafter. Is this understood?
You see Samuel Hunter kind of excuse me, looks in your direction.
There are no more La Sombra in this tower. Therefore, both myself and Michelangelo are what I believe are supposed to be called wanted men. Is it not right, Michelangelo? Or if there's no La Sombra for you to take the place of, there's no place for you in the first place. So you can fuck off and die.
Samuel kind of looks over at you. He's like, you understand that forfeiting your position in the tower means that his desire to join is moot, as there is no one for him to turn in. Unless he can produce another fucking vampire another La Sombra vampire within the next 5 fucking minutes. And as he says that, the doors burst open and you see a SWAT team come rushing in, and you see gunfire, just muzzle flash. There's just automatic rifle fire spraying into the room. You just hear one voice from the back. Brandon, Anderson, find me this Geraldine. And 2 of them come in and just get in front of some of the armored people, and you see these 2 jets of red fire come out of flamethrowers, and all the vampires that are near them just pushed back towards the back of the room.
I push Lydia to the ground, like out of harm's way, and I rush to the front of Geraldine.
You hear 2 gunshots go off, and you can see the red laser kind of coming up Geraldine's torso right before the gunshots go off. Your body comes forward to block out the laser sight, and you feel the impact of the 2 bullets in your back. Unlike the bullets that Melvin has taken for you over these 3 dozen episodes together from the very beginning, these, fortunately, are incendiary rounds. And the moment they make contact with Albert's body, you see these craters flare open in his back where the bullets hit. And after a moment, his body collapses. There's these 2 massive holes. One at the top right shoulder, one the bottom left where his hip would be. And slowly, as he's turning around, almost for the first time since you've known him, with this look of pride on his face, you see him turn to ash. And Albert Frost is no more. More bullets go flying through the room. You can see parts of the wall igniting after the impact. There's one vampire, one of the new vampires that was introduced, a Frederick Mason, that gets hit, but you notice that his skin is a little bit tougher, a little bit more resilient, and you just see the bullet kind of pop out. And as it does, once it hits the floor, then you see it kind of flare into this white hot, little tiny foot in diameter of a star for a moment, and everybody just starts to rush out. What would you like to do, individuals?
I know what I'm doing. I'm
Oh,
going in.
somebody-
I'm
oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm going. No, I was gonna say I'm gonna try to obfuscate, and I'm rushing one of the flamethrower guys because I'm gonna have a flamethrower now, and I'm gonna torch the entire fucking SWAT team.
With all the eyes on you, it is going to be impossible to pull
Would they
up.
be on me though? Would they be on me if they're looking at the SWAT team that's causing murder and mayhem?
Well, there's eyes on you at all. Like everyone
Oh.
is being observed at this point. Like whether it be a vampire or
Okay.
whether it be a SWAT team member, there are eyes on everyone.
Real quick, what's the range for dread gaze?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because if it's inside that room, all those motherfuckers are getting caught.
I would say it is enough to get the room. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'll do a rouse check for this.
Okay. Lay it on me.
Oh shit! Well, sorry. Rolled a 10.
Okay. That means no hunger comes of this. You managed to get your dread gaze off. Level
So
3.
I gotta. So I gotta roll charisma and presence. So that is 6 for me. And I guess it's a counter roll. Is that right?
If it's a vampire.
Oh,
Against
okay. Yeah, you're right.
against mortals, there's really little they can do against vampiric disciplines.
Well, it says here that if they fail, mortals would tremble in fear and just stay in that one spot and pretty much go into the fetal position.
Mhm.
If they succeed, they just run.
The two flamethrowers you see just continue to move forward, shooting their jets in arcs just in front of them, trying to clear the way. There is somebody that calls out that the doors have been barred and that this was a trap. And you see between Sam and Aisling McGinty, they both break off the reinforced kind of French doors that lead to the veranda outside, and you see them start to call out for people to run and get out. And that's when you notice that only 2 of the SWAT members have really kind of stopped what they're doing and lowered their weapons kind of out of fear. Everybody else seems to be moving forward. Their visors look to have some kind of reflective lining as they step closer to you. These are people that have been trained, it looks like, to deal with your kind.
The 2 that dropped, what weapons do they have?
M16s?
None of the flamethrowers then. Okay.
No. It's assault rifles. Military grade.
Daddy's gonna lose some humanity today. I'm just.
No, this is what I've been waiting for. This is what I've been waiting for.
I look at Albert and I just, with everything that's been going on with me, that I just found out I lost my sire was killed
Mhm.
and all this stuff. I'm just in a frenzy essentially right now. So I'm gonna try to come around and take out my I think I had an M1911 will,
Mhm.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna try to take a shot at the gas tank of one of the flamethrowers.
Okay. Are you gonna aim or are you gonna fire from the hip?
No, I'm gonna aim.
Okay, then give me a wits and firearms. What are Mustang, Ani, and Manny doing?
I'm gonna turn to Otis and ask him fight or flight.
If I've learned anything, it's preservation is key. I had to live another
All
day.
right. Can you get out?
Yeah, and he starts making his way to the double doors.
All right. I'm gonna go grab John's girl and get out.
Okay, and she is under one of the tables. You can just hear her sobbing and trying to figure out what to do with herself. And when she sees you, there's just this look of relief that comes over her.
I'll extend my hand and say, "Come on, Mama, let's get you out of here."
All right, yeah, please. And she just follows you. Connie?
I look for Lydia.
She is kneeling at the ashes of what was her father. Handfuls of him in her hand.
Okay. I'm gonna go up to her and I'm gonna be like, we'll come back. We don't have time. And I say, we need to go. And I sort of try to slowly but firmly grab her from under her arms to try to find and protect her and find a way out of here.
She is mostly dead weight, so it's going to be a strength check from you. And let's pair it. Pair it with athletics, because I don't think you're being aggressive with her.
No.
Have my roll, Will. Just tell me whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
I
What is
got nothing.
So she is slowing you down. She is dragging. She is not helping in any way, shape, or form, and just her hands are just reaching out, and you can just hear her crying and wailing like a banshee about her father. What is Mustang doing?
Where am I in relation to Erickson?
Same table. So he just kind of stood up, bared his fangs, and kind of stepped forward so that he was visible. But nothing really has come of it.
How far am I from Connie and Lydia?
They're towards the middle of the room, so maybe about 20 feet away.
So I see that Connie's struggling. I want to go help her out.
Okay, same thing. Strength and athletics if you're going to be kind, or you could do strength and brawl if you want to force this girl up onto her feet.
Whichever's higher.
Your choice. Whatever you want.
None of them. None of them.
Excellent.
And they're both hunger. So a 3 and a 1.
Oof.
Yeah.
So this is the first time we've actually seen a bestial failure, and there is this flashback that hits Mustang as you come over, you start to help Connie, you kind of make eye contact, you're like, hey, we need to get out of here. Unspoken. And the moment that you grab onto Lydia and you start to pull her up and you can feel her dead weight, you're brought back to your brother. You're brought back to the bay. And there's just this incessant need for that to never be another thing again. And your instinct kicks in to try to pass on the gift that has been given to you, to your brother. And you, before you know it, you've pushed Connie aside and you've dug your fangs into Lydia's throat.
This is counterproductive.
Not the time.
Can someone get me off her?
I am gonna do that.
The blood that is filling your mouth and going down, the warmness of it, the smell of it, is unlike anything else you have ever experienced before. This is not a feeding like you are used to. This blood is the secret to relieving all of the pain you have felt since the day you were turned.
Me.
Whoa.
This is such a gift that you are swallowing, and every gulp just makes you feel like you're that much closer to salvation. It is hard for you to pull yourself off.
I'm gonna punch her in the face.
Okay. That
With
would,
all due respect, Mustang, I'm gonna punch her in the face.
Please do.
With all the respect in the world, I'm about to slap the shit out of you.
I'm about to
So,
kick your ass.
that's gonna be a strength and
I
brawl.
just wanted to help. I just wanted to help.
Well,
Yeah.
you're not helping.
Well, I mean,
This isn't what I wanted to do.
you helped yourself to lower your hunger at least. So there's that.
Okay, you said it's
I'm
strength
so
and
sorry.
brawl.
Strength and brawl, and remember that you
Fuck.
can rouse
Oh, I'm gonna rouse.
to improve your stats by 2 dice.
Okay, how do I rouse again? I just roll.
Roll 1 die.
Uh-huh.
Tell me what you get.
I got a 6.
Okay, so you manage to push the blood from your dead heart into the rest of your body. It starts to fill in the kind of musculature, starts to fill in it starts to pump through the kind of bicep, the tricep, the forearm, the fingers. You can feel yourself becoming physically stronger, faster, and more resilient. So you have a +2 bonus to your physical dice, so it's going to be a total of 6 dice for your strength and brawl now
Mm-hmm.
instead of 4.
No.
God damn it.
Okay, I got a 5 on my hunger dice. A 5, a 2, a 1, and an 8.
Okay. Luckily, Mustang is in no position to counteract you, so your one single success is enough to punch her square in the face.
My God.
Amazing.
So the Mustang takes 1 point of superficial damage from the punch.
That's just how I carry things.
But you do knock her off of Lydia, who is now more in fear for her life than caring about kind of grabbing her father's remains.
Good. And now I physically don't have I don't give a fuck. I'm dragging her ass out of here.
Okay.
Whether she likes
She's
it or
mama
not.
bearing her.
Yeah. So what did you get on your shot roll, Melvin?
I got 5 successes.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Real quick. Am I able to? I know I did the gaze. Am I able to see what Wright is doing? What Melvin's doing?
Yeah, you see him pull his gun out and take aim, almost like a trained marksman.
Right. And how close is he to this tank that he's about to blow up?
Oh no, he's got a good
No,
distance.
I'm not dumb.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna see.
I
I'm
mean,
not gonna blow it up right
I
now.
only asked because I'm Bruja, so I would have been like, okay, time to dive on this guy now. That's like what I was
But you do hear the gunshot go off, and you see dead to rights just go in through one side of the pressurized canister and come out the other, and you just see this gas start to shoot out like a white mist of wings, and his cone of fire just starts to become this small, kind of impotent, limp penis of this flame. As it just kind of all the gas starts to get eaten away, and he kind of looks down. He looks over at you, and then he just starts to back up, and two of the other SWAT members with shields kind of step forward to protect him.
I'm going, if I can, though they come up, can I now use my grace to throw my ass into them so I can try to knock that shield wall down?
Sure,
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Are they wearing protective armor, by the way?
they are.
They are. How am I? How I just want to know how if I can get into them, because I know for a fact that I'm going to do aggravated damage to a mortal if I can get to them.
Oh,
So
are you using your full potence?
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, no, this is full bore. This is full bore brouhaha. You brought me into this. You started a fire. We're gonna end this today.
okay. It's gonna go really badly for them.
Well, it's gonna probably go badly for me too, but let's see.
Yeah, that's true. If you're gonna throw yourself into them, excuse me, you can go with a strength and brawl if you just want to try to knock them over, or a strength and athletics if you're trying to squeeze past them.
No. Strength and brawl to knock them down, and
Okay.
hopefully knock down those visors as well.
Okay.
In that sense. So, and I'm gonna rouse
Oh,
just in case, because at this point,
sure. So roll one die.
6.
6. Okay, so you managed to call on the blood without raising your hunger. You
Yeah,
have
let's just hope that. How many dice is this now? So that's 3, 4,
two
5.
more.
All right, so that's 7 total.
Yeah. Go bananas.
BAN. I got a 10 on the hunger. Oh, this is gonna get bad.
Get it? If you get another 10, that's a messy critical.
No. Thank God, no. 10, 9, 6, 4, 2 2s, and an 8.
4 successes.
So that. Yep.
You go barreling into them like a wrecking ball. Just in anticipation of Miley Cyrus's song, you go flying into them, and you knock the two of them that replaced the flamethrower straight to the ground. The flamethrower guy that kind of was backing away just kind of goes, "Oh fuck!"
Yeah.
And the other one kind of starts to back up and start turning towards you.
Mhm.
And some of the other guys are like, "No, Brandon's down!
That he is.
Oh. And I yell out, "His name is Albert!" And I just run.
But Melvin, you see that the other flamethrower guy is about to just unleash his payload onto Erickson. Connie, Mustang, and Lydia have made their way out onto the veranda where everybody else is kind of leaving. It is just the two of you left in the room.
And how many people?
There are at least 12. 10 assault rifles. 6 of them have shields. 2 of those shields are on the floor. And there's 1 flamethrower left. Everybody else has kind of handguns.
Okay, so I have a question, because if I were to grab one of these big round tables with my potence 3 and made it into a frisbee to chuck it at the 12 guys that are standing there,
Sure.
and then run, I would like to do that.
You can. You are going to need to activate your I think it's your second level power where you get to add your potence to your strength rolls.
Yeah, it's a rouse check. Yeah. Let me see. No, I got a 4.
Okay, so that just means that you still do it. You still add your potent to your unarmed damage and your feat's strength, but it just raises your hunger by 1.
Hunger. Okay.
And
Yeah, I did.
okay. And as the beast kind of comes forward, as you're calling on its power to kind of help you with this, and you're starting to pick up the table, you have a flashback of the first time that Mickey showed you what you could do with potence. How he could just live the impossible. He could just take a car and literally flip it one end over the other. And just having your shock and awe at the power that Unlife had to offer you. And then it starts to wash over you that he's gone too. Albert's gone too. That most of the people that have been somewhat meaningful for you have left. And the beast just starts to show you that first meeting between you and Connie and Albert. And how Albert, in your memory, starts to become black and white. And there's the vibrancy in Connie. And then there's just this snarl. And Connie starts to fade to black and white. And there's just that question of when will it be her turn? But it fuels you. It drives itself into the musculature of your arms, into the veins in between your fingers and your knuckles, and you can feel the 4 new holes that you've bored with just your fingertips into this table from your right hand, and the 4 that you've bored into it from your left hand, and you just chuck it with everything you have. Give me a strength and athletics check, plus 3 more for your potence. And I'm assuming you don't want to rouse for 2 extra dice.
You know what? Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, man, play to win. Play to win.
I got a 10.
Okay. So you managed to pull the blood through you without raising your hunger anymore, which is good. So you do have a total of your strength and athletics, which is normally 3. And now you've added 5 more dice to it, so you're at 8.
Fuck.
2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay.
8d10.
Come on, let's get some 2 10s in there.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
for real.
No 10s, but 9s are fine too.
Yeah.
So I've got, yeah. So I've got. Do I want to do a willpower? No. I've got 5 successes.
Okay.
And a 9 and an 8 on my wild die. On the hunger die.
Sure.
Then a 6, 7, 9, and then a 2, 3, 2.
Yeah.
Do I want to blow willpower?
You do have 3 dice that you could.
Yeah, let's do that. And I just say, okay. Well, I've killed the entire SWAT team. That would be 7 successes.
Okay. So, as everybody's outside making their way down from the veranda onto the lower levels, Erickson is on top of 2 of these SWAT members with shields that are just kind of screaming, afraid of what you might do to them.
Oh, what I'm going to do to them.
And you see this shadow kind of come over you, and just this whoosh sound that just barely comes above your body. And you hear the loud crash and the sound of wood shattering and splintering, and you see this wave of SWAT team just kind of get pushed back knocked back hard, and they go tumbling back, and you can hear the footsteps of Melvin just kind of running away. And that's when you hear, "We got 2 strong individuals. I repeat, 2 strong individuals. Get the clears." And you hear 2 plinks, and then 2 light metallic sounds hitting the floor. And then you hear the sound of 1 thud, and then a roll, and a second thud, and another roll.
Right, and I can see this in my eye line.
Out of the corner of your eye, you can see what looks to be a grenade.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the shields.
Mhm.
One of the shields.
Yeah.
The direction that it's coming from. Am I able to see Melvin what direction he ran to?
Oh, he's running towards the double doors.
All right. The double doors where everybody ran to, or where the okay.
Yeah.
Is that in the direction of these stupid grenades?
No, the grenades have been kind of lobbed in towards the door itself.
All right. I'm gonna actually grab both shields.
Yep.
Rip them off of their arms. If they still have it on them, I'm ripping their arms with these things. So if I need to, please let me know if I have to roll on ripping these off of these individuals.
You do, in fact, need to roll.
Thank you.
It's going to be a strength and athletics.
Strength and athletics. That's 5. I'm gonna go ahead and rouse.
Okay.
That's a 4, so I'm going up a hunger.
Yep. And yeah, your beast is unusually quiet as you rouse him from his sleep. There's no memory that's dredged up for you. There's no lesson, but you just feel it pacing like a tiger in an enclosure, just back and forth. And you can just feel it licking its lips. And the only sense you get from it is all in due time.
This is gonna be fun. So I rolled 7 and 1 on the hunger,
Mhm.
and then I have 3 8s, a 9, and a 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm ripping their arms are still attached to these things as I'm running with them.
You hear the bone crack in one of from one of them. You definitely hear a bone crack. You can hear the sound of sinew and musculature just ripping, and both of them are screaming for very different reasons. One shield is lighter than the other as you're running away, because the one that is heavier does have an arm still attached, still closed fist in the handrail. The other one doesn't.
Would I have the wherewithal to run while simultaneously chowing down a little bit on that arm since it still has some blood flowing through it?
You could drink some of it. It's not going to relieve any of your hunger, but it is a frightening thing to see if you're not used to that. So you'll hear one of them. If you do that, you'll hear one of them. "Oh fuck! That thing's a monster!" And then the room is just suddenly filled with smoke.
Okay.
But
so I take it that this wasn't a flashbang.
No.
Right. So it's just so they can get the fuck, so that they can leave, so that they can get out.
Yeah. Yeah. And at the same time, like, all of you are outside. You've rushed around. You can see that the parking lot is full of police officers. There's police cars everywhere, and people are already kind of trying to figure out how to get out of the area, since the country club is just on the outskirts of town, and it's going to be difficult to get back without incurring any suspicion. But most of you are gathered, and the 5 of you that are left, and Lydia, Isaiah is there. He's kind of got his hands on her shoulders, trying to be supportive. But Marcus kind of has come over to your group, and you can see that Otis is kind of helping to direct people. And he sees your groups kind of gathered together, and he starts to make his way over as well. But you are in front of each other.
I'm not there yet, right?
Yeah, all of you are gathered.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The
The last one to come up is Erickson.
Which, as I'm running up, I tried to remove the arm that's still attached to the shield that I have.
Sure. Not difficult.
By any chance, is there a watch? Is there anything on this hand that just happened to be left as I ripped it apart?
There is a school ring. Excuse me. The high school ring. For a school you wouldn't think you'd see out here, because it's Miami High.
Oh shit!
Oh, it's a good thing I ripped off that arm then.
Yeah.
But I try to dislodge the actual arm off, and then I'll pocket the ring.
Good.
As I'm coming up with the shields, I go, well, I guess we don't need these then, and I just toss the shields down to the floor.
Do I see the arm still attached to the shield?
Oh yeah. When I added,
awesome! I grab it.
Yep.
A snack for the road.
Waste not, want not. Look at me! I'm a swag guy. I got my arm ripped off because I was attached to a shield.
Oh my god!
I'll let you know right now. Will drastically underplayed your character.
Yes, 100%. When I get up to them, I kind of ignore everybody and I go straight to Lydia.
She's already pulling out the 2 envelopes that Albert put in her pocket.
I grab her and I go, not here. And I go and I hug her.
Yeah.
I basically I grab her and I just embrace her.
Her arms drop.
Not
to
embrace
either
her like vampire.
Yeah. Her arms, not the capital E.
Not the capital E. It's
little E.
Little E.
Her arms drop to either side of her, and the envelopes fall out of her hand. And she just,
I bend over and I pick them up.
Yeah, she just lets herself just collapse into you.
I pick her up. I look at Isaiah and I go, we need to talk.
Stood.
And I look at Connie and I'm like, are you all right?
Me tomorrow. Today, let's get the hell out of here. But should we do we have time? Is there anybody left inside? There's nobody inside, right?
No.
Everybody's dead? Erickson and I took took care of most of them.
I tell Melvin, I kind of want to go inside and see if there's anything left of besides those letters.
You hear what were agitated, kind of soft voices suddenly explode, and the group of vampires that were being kind of directed suddenly part, and you hear Thomas Reginald Hyde just suddenly his voice doesn't boom to the point where it would alert people. It just kind of fills the space, and he looks over at Geraldine and he's just like, "This is your fucking fault. If you hadn't been soft on the Lupines, if you hadn't been soft after the assault on the theater, if you hadn't been soft, period, you fucking rose, this wouldn't have happened." And out of nowhere, almost out of like an old west little sleeve gun holster, a stake pops into his hand and he just drives it straight into her heart. And
How far is he from us?
he's like maybe 50 feet away.
Okay, I blink and I stab him in the neck with my fork.
All right, make your attack roll.
All right.
Yeah.
Not my monkey, not my circus.
I hand Connie
Lydia?
I hand Lydia. I kind of toss her, and I take off, and I pull out my gun and I shoot at him.
Just so while this is happening as well, I'm literally beelining towards where Mustang is to make sure.
I'm gonna rouse to Sapphire.
Okay.
And that was not a success.
Yeah.
And my attack. I'm assuming strength melee.
Yep, strength melee.
Let's go. Okay.
Are you rousing? Are you rousing to enhance your stats, or are you rousing for your prowess?
I'm rousing for my prowess. Yeah.
Oh,
Did not do it though. My attack did get 2 successes. One of them's a 10.
what'd you get in your rouse check?
I got 4.
Okay, so you still do it. Your hunger goes up by 1.
Oh, never mind. Let me roll those 2 extra then. That adds 1 more success.
So it's a total of 4?
3.
3. You see, you go blinking towards him. You shoot forward with the knife, with the fork, and the prongs just shrink like an accordion as they come in contact with his skin. And he just kind of turns in your direction. And then you see him blink over to Otis. He has him by the throat. This is the age of the Ventrue. This is
Don't you
not.
fucking dare.
And I will start by killing anyone who opposes me. You hear the snap. And Otis's body goes limp. And this, after we get what Albert wrote in his letters, I think is a good place to stop. So Albert, if you could read the contents of these letters for us.
So I'm assuming Lydia pulls them aside at one point after all this.
Mhm.
My dearest Connie, if you have received this letter, then I have died. I can only hope you were spared the sight. I would like to apologize for putting you in the terrible situations I caused. Please know I love you. You were my first friend in such a long time. Regrettably, it feels like my last. I do not want to leave you on such a somber note, so I have a quote for you. Considered to be from early Atlanteans. We of the waves have found comfort on the sand, yet the sand never cared for our presence. So we found home in the depths, where those forgotten could be. Be safe, Connie. I forgive you for my towels. Dear Melvin, I want you to know I was a father first, a researcher second. If my plan succeeded, you know where my daughter is. She is smarter than I ever could be. Keep her away from Yusuf. Keep her safe. Keep her alive. If Michelangelo won, ask him what our sister would think. I apologize for the inconvenience I may have been to you. You don't know how much I truly look up to you, Melvin. I only wish I could say that to your face. Nevertheless, I want to say that I'm sorry. I hope you don't die with any regrets, Melvin. While writing this, I realize I have too many to name. Yours truly, Professor Frost.
With that, we finish the season. We finish this chapter. We finish this volume. As now moving forward, nothing is going to be the same. And we will be jumping Friday, October 19th, 1984, and the repercussions that have come with the shift in princeship from Geraldine Birmingham to Thomas Reginald Hyde, from what was a Toreador prince to now what has been, what has worked, what is going to save the city. We'll see. But a Ventrue is in charge now. And that brings different rules. But I'd like to thank all of you, as always, for participating in this, for being fantastic players, for being fantastic cooperative storytellers, and helping me to just push the envelope of what is storytelling and what is communal storytelling. As always, how we end here, and I'd like to end with everybody, since this is a very somber ending and the last time that Brandon will be joining us, at least in this game. If you are looking for help, please know that you don't have to hide or think of it as a stigma or a taboo subject. Please get help. There are phone numbers in chat if you're watching live. If you are outside of the United States, there is a link for help in any of the parts of the world that you might be living in, because mental health is a serious issue, and it shouldn't be this subject that is hidden behind the idea that it makes people uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable, and I think that more uncomfortable conversations need to be had. Among them, getting your vaccines if you haven't, because this isn't going away, and apparently a lot of you like to not be fucking vaccinated. So change that, please, for our sanity moving forward. But if you feel like you still need to keep your distance, to keep wearing your masks, to keep washing your hands, I know that I wear my mask anytime that I go out into the plague lands, as Shanky likes to call it. So please don't feel like it is something that should be ridiculed or criticized. Look after yourself, and that includes mental health, physical health. So please get yourselves vaccinated, get yourselves the help if you need it. And I will see you next week, hopefully. As this Friday, there will be no Star Wars game. And next Monday, I think we might take a break so that we can recover from what just happened tonight. But please, please take care of each other, take care of yourselves, and I hope to see you in the next time.